What's up, guys? This is Black Scout Survival, and today we're talking about what is the best survival lighter. And you know, I've tried a lot of different lighters on the market. It's the high-tech survival gadgety ones, this butane, you know, that waterproof, whatnot. Just never, none of them really, you know, sparked my interest up to this point. You know, I'm not saying that they may never will, you know, but up to this point, I'm going to go with my old standby, the big lighter. And in my fire kit, I carry 2 cigarette lighters along with a, you know, ferrocene rod and some other things, and I'll do a video on that kit in the future. But I kind of just want to talk about the big lighters and lighters, I guess myths of these lighters and stuff like that. People really say they're unreliable, and I'm not really sure why. They must have never used them. But this is the general kind that you can find in most places. You know, it's the flint wheel. And I carried these in Montana. I've been to Montana numerous times, and I carried these up in elevation, and they work fine. People say, oh, they don't work in, you know, high altitude, but I was in high altitude in middle of January when it was like 20 below zero, and these work fine. People say they freeze. Well, the fact is yeah, if you keep them in your pack, like I was snowmobiling in Montana, and I had like my Nalgene in my bag, in my backpack, and the water froze, you know. But if you keep this close to your body, like in your pocket, pants pocket or whatnot, it's going to stay warm. And even if it does freeze up, you know, or get cold, you can warm it up and it'll work. Well, the other fact is that people say they're not waterproof. Well, that is true. They're not waterproof. You get them wet, and I'm going to show that in a minute. You get them wet, they're not immediately going to work. You have to blow them out, dry them out, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but I said I carry 2 lighters, and there's a reason why. This is a flint wheel style, and you know, like I have been talking about, it can get wet and not work. But this is a Bic Click, and it is a piezo, I'm guessing, lighter, and so it's an electronic lighter. This thing will work when it's wet, and I'm going to show that in a few minutes. But while I'm still on this lighter, people say that this also, you know, you can lose fuel in it. Well, that's whenever I, you know, put an O-ring on there, O-ring gasket. Bring this in closer, but O-ring gasket like this right here, and keep it from, you know, depressing. And I keep them on my pack like this, so that way I know it's not getting depressed in my pack. But anyhow, I normally carry the large size version of the cigarette lighter. You know, these Bic Clicks, I've only seen them come in this size here. I tend to stay away from this size, you know, unless I'm carrying like in my pocket on a daily basis. But you notice this isn't too much bigger than this one, and that kind of stinks. But like I said, this is the only size that I've seen this one come in. And generally I tend to, you know, stick with orange lighters as my survival lighters. That way I know never to use these unless they're in a survival situations. All my other color lighters I'll use for whatever reason. But anyhow, I also have the piezo in orange also. So the piezo lighter, let's go and move this one out of the way. The piezo lighter is this is also a piezo type lighter, you know, the grill lighter, and these are good to have too, but they're big, you know, not really good for carrying around on your person. But basically this thing takes an electric like arc, and it ignites the fuel, and you can kind of see it jump out there. But these things work great, and I'm gonna show you real quick. You can dunk them in water and they'll light immediately up. We'll dunk both of these in some water, the standard and the Bic Click. And you're probably asking, well, why don't you carry 2 of the Bic Clicks then instead of this flint style? The problem is with the piezo lighters is they don't work well in altitude. Something to do with the arc of the spark. It like hits a quartz and spark, it just doesn't ignite or flake off in altitude. So this is good to have, and these are large, you know what I mean? These are small, so this obviously holds more fuel. The other benefit of carrying these over these is that you can use this flint style even when the fluid runs out. I'm going to do a video on that in the future where you can remove the cap and use it kind of like a spark light. So there's benefits to both, and that's why I carry one of each in my kit to, you know, work off each other in case one of them fails, the other one will work. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and see if this is going to work. Nope. All right, a little bit of drying out, but that won't work. Let's go ahead and try this one. Oh, that worked, didn't it? I mean, you can stick this thing in here all day, and I'm telling you, it'll work. It may take a few times to get it, but it's going to work. See what I mean? So you may just have to shake the water out of it is all, you know, but it's going to work, and it's going to get the job done. So to me, this is your best survival lighter combo. You know, why make things difficult whenever you can just take a, you know, I use ferrocerium rod a lot too, this and that, and I use it in tough conditions, but why not just get out and get a fire started? But this was BlackScoutSurvival.com. Check out our tips and tutorials on our website. And if you hadn't subscribed, please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.